Today's video, I thought it would be important to introduce everybody to how I got into the cannabis industry, and I thought it would only be appropriate to have Robb LaPeen with me because he actually has taught me everything that I know about the medical side, and so I'll just get started. About 4 years ago, my daughter jumped off the side of my truck and I went to catch her, and I thought I'd catch her under the arms, but she jumped awkwardly, so I had a basket catch her. And from that point on, I had 2 ruptured discs in my back, and I went through a 1.5 to 2 years of pain medicine, pain injections, physical therapy, chiropractor, massage, and lots of Vicodin and muscle relaxers. And I just couldn't find any relief. I couldn't stand up straight. I couldn't sleep. I was crippled. Physically, I was crippled. It was affecting my performance at work. And so finally the doctor said, "We've done everything that we can do for you, Troy. You need to have back surgery." So in January of 2017, I had back surgery. And I felt great after the back surgery. I went through 6 months of my back repairing itself, and I wanted to make sure that I was never crippled like that again. So I made sure that I went through the full healing process. And the first weekend that I was able to do physical activities, I went golfing and I played sand volleyball. And I was crippled again. Instead of having 2 ruptured discs and sciatica down my right side, I had 2 ruptured discs, the start of arthritis, and sciatic pain down both my legs. I couldn't stand up straight. I started going back through the pain injections, physical therapy, lots of muscle relaxers, and lots of pain.
This is after your first surgery?
Yeah, after my
incision you have now?
And so I was looking at a second back surgery. And the second back surgery it's more dangerous than the first because you already have scar tissue. And so one of my friends said to me, he said, "You need to get your medical marijuana card." And I said, "Why would I do that?" And he said, "Because you're taking a lot of pain medication." No, I never abused the pain medication, but I knew every 8 hours whenever I was coming up on my time to take more. And so I said, okay. And so he showed me how to get my medical card. I sent in for it, and it came in the mail, and I have this card. And I called him, I said, "I got my medical card." He said, "That's awesome." He said, "You need to go see this guy I know." And so he gave me directions into Clio, Thetford Township. And I went to the dispensary that I thought was this guy he knew. And I went in and it was dark. And I felt like I was doing something wrong. I felt like I was doing something illegal. It was not a pleasant experience for me. And so whenever I started talking to the bud tender, the bud tender said, "Oh, looks like you're in a lot of pain." I said, "I am." And he said, "Here, take this." And so he gave me this brown paper bag. And I got it home and I looked inside and had these buds in it. And now in high school, 30 years ago, I experimented a little bit with marijuana, but I never rolled it myself. I never ground it up. I didn't know what it was. And so now I have these 2 buds in my hand, and I have no papers, I have no grinder. I don't know what to do with it. I know I don't eat it. I know I have to smoke it, but I don't know how. Which sounds ignorant, but it was what it was. So after that bad experience, I called him and I said, "Hey," I said, "I have this medicine, I don't know what to do with it." And he said, "Well, did you talk to my guy?" And I said, "No, nobody talked to me." And so the more we talked, he said, "No, Robb LaPeen." And so I waited a few days and I called Robb, and Robb said, "Come meet me." So I met Robb down at a venue that he was renting for his son's music. And the first thing he told me is, he says, "I don't want you to get high, I want you to get healthy." And he rubbed some CBD lotion on my back, a topical. And I thought, this is weird. Well, I don't know this guy. I thought it was coming to buy marijuana, but from a caregiver. But he gave me CBD. At that time in the state of Michigan, CBD was legal for anybody. I didn't even need a medical card. And so Robb explained to me, rub this on your back for 2 to 3 days, take this tincture, drop it under your tongue, and see what happens. within 3 days, I was able to stand up. I started to be able to sleep. My daughters weren't embarrassed to be in public with me anymore from being bent over and crippled. And I thought, this is a miracle. And so I started talking to Robb, and Robb was talking to me about the technical training center that he wanted to set up to teach people how to bud tend, teach people the medicinal value of marijuana. And so I said, I'd love to be a part of that. You know, as an educator for over 20 years, that's one of my passions. So the technical training center I thought was very important, because if people aren't healthy, then they can't learn, like I was helping people at the college. So I thought that if we could educate this billion-dollar industry per Newsweek and other experts, I thought that would be a great thing. Now, Robb, me being new to the industry, Robb knew that licensing was going to be very challenging, and he wasn't planning on getting into licensing. He planned on opening up auxiliary businesses in the technical training area, the Presidential Hemp Museum, which would be the 5th in the world, which is some of the artifacts that we have here, and a Canna Cafe, a blown shop. But I guess I like a challenge, and so I thought, I want to get licensed. I want to be able to help people with medicine like I used. This is an example of a topical and a tincture, and I didn't use these exact ones, but it was very similar to this. And so as our journey began 18 months ago, I've learned more and more and more about this industry, and each one of the components of the industry is very important. It's just not the medicine, even though the medicine it's old technology being reintroduced to at least Americans and Michiganders. I wanted to thank you, Robb, for helping me to open my eyes and get into this industry. And although we're not licensed yet, Destination 420 and MMBB, the provisioning center and the grow and the processing center, I look forward to continue to help people out.
I want to thank you too for, you know, I basically, we wouldn't have been where we are now if it wasn't for you and your skills and your background, and it's just been an amazing journey so far. And I just wanted to go back a little bit, because while Kyle was trying to get Troy to meet me, he was trying to get me to meet him at the same time. So, you know, I played a little bit of phone tag there for a minute, you know, and I thought, man, I mean, this guy, if I can help him out, you know, and show him and prove to him that this medicine is for real and works, that he might help us out. And through United We Stand, we basically, at the time, we got a lot of people interested in helping us out at that time, and things had changed since then. So I am now a property owner, and Troy is a license holder at this time, and we're basically going to take this to the next level. We've got everything we need here on site, and this medicine not only helped Troy, but helped hundreds, possibly thousands. I mean, I've done this with several people. I just did the same thing I normally do for you as anybody else, you know, when you come to me. But he was in rough shape, and it didn't take long, 2-3 days. He was standing back straight again, and now he's playing volleyball, golfing. I mean, it's been an amazing journey thus far. We thought it was important for people to know how we come together and how we got involved with each other. My background had been in the automotive industry for years. This plant literally saved my life a little over 10 years ago now. I had a rare blood disease, and I just went all in ever since then. I mean, I've been growing, become a self-taught chemist. Just anything I could learn about the industry, I basically dove right in. Mainly the way that we treat patients, and that's something that's very important to us here. That's why that was one of my fears, that this law was going to go through, and these big corporations were going to open up, and they just weren't going to take care of the patient like the patient needs to be taken care of. It was a big fear of mine, and so with Troy and his background in education is excellent for what we're trying to do here. Just the contracts that we've had to deal with and the paperwork that we had to deal with for our licensing has been a challenge. I could have never even thought about getting through that without your skills, you know, and I appreciate that. And
Yeah, and I think it's important to say Robb's not only the owner of United Way Stand Holdings and the property owner, but he's also going to be my master grower. He's the resident expert, so that patients that come to Destination 420 don't have the experience that I had whenever I got my medical card, and we want to make sure that everybody's taken care of one-on-one, and I think that's what sets us apart, and that's what I'm most proud of. Our partnership, our relationship, but every person that comes in knowing that we're helping, I think it's amazing.
I mean, literally against all odds, we've been able to build a network of over 3,000 people.
Yeah.
And at least 250 of them are veterans, and Troy himself is a disabled vet, so you know, we can relate with our veterans a little bit better. We're in the future, we plan on having a program where we have, like Troy said, the 5th hemp museum in the world, and on top of that, we'll be the only hands-on technical training center at this time in Michigan that we know of. And I've trained over 200, 250 caregivers to grow their own medicine, a lot of veterans too. It's really good for post-traumatic stress to actually get involved in growing. It takes up, you know, gives you something to do, and it's very rewarding when you're successful. And taught a lot of people how to grow good, and I got a lot of backlash on that. Well, you're teaching your competition how to grow. It's not about that. There's still our patients, even after they learn their crops fail, they need medicine in between. So it never was an issue. And then we started taking their medicine, and after we taught them, so put it in other patients' hands that were without. So it's been an amazing journey thus far, you know, and we got a little bit further to go.
Yeah. Well, and as two businessmen, you, the owner of United Way Stand, and me, the owner of D420 MMBB, you've given back to the community. You've made donations and you've sponsored events, and I've given donations and sponsored events. So it's more than just the medicine. This industry has helped the community by allowing us to give back, not only on one-on-one to patients, but also financially to people in the community.
Absolutely. I mean, there's been times where I was so successful in my outdoor growing that we gave away a quarter pound of medicine a day for a year.
Wow.
You know, we've really been giving back, and we're not going to quit. We're going to keep doing that. Put the patient first, and everything else will come. I mean, it's a very lucrative business. We've been crunching numbers for months now, and it's amazing what can be done in this business. It's the beginning of a new industry. We're at the ground level right now. We've got our stake and our claim, and we're gonna go for the gold and make it work and just take care of a lot of people the way they need to be taken care of. On top of that, we're gonna take care of our investors. You know, so that's something we're looking forward to, is making people a lot of money, not only ourselves. So.
Yeah, absolutely right.